Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As we journey through life, we accumulate experiences, memories, relationships, and yes, burdens. But something extraordinary happens as we cross into our 70s. We begin to see with clarity what truly matters, and perhaps more importantly, what doesn't. Today, I want to talk about 8 things that stop mattering after 70, and how letting go of these weights can unlock a richer, freer, and more joyful life. Freedom in life isn't about having more, it's about needing less. From early on, we're taught to chase, to acquire, to prove. We collect achievements, opinions, expectations, and often unnecessary emotional weight. By the time we reach our later years, especially after 70, we begin to see a truth that eludes so many in the rush of youth. Letting go is the real secret to freedom. It's not what you hold on to, but what you release, that determines the quality of your peace and joy. Imagine your life as a backpack. In your 20s and 30s, you fill it with ambitions, desires, goals, relationships, and fears. Every time someone disapproves of you, you carry that weight. Every time you try to impress someone, you load another expectation into the pack. The heavier it becomes, the slower you move. But in your later years, you begin to wonder, why am I still carrying all this? That's when the process of true growth begins. Letting go is not a loss. It's an act of intentional living. It's a skill that must be cultivated like any other, through practice, awareness, and courage. One of the most liberating things to let go of is the opinions of others. This isn't easy. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek validation. Whether it's the approval of parents, teachers, peers, or society at large, we grow up believing that our worth is measured by how others see us. We begin tailoring our choices, what we wear, how we speak, the careers we choose, based on this invisible scoreboard. But here's the hard truth. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to truly think about you. Their judgments are reflections of their own fears, limitations, and insecurities, not yours. When you understand this, it becomes clear that living by the approval of others is like living in a cage where the keys are held by everyone but you. That's not freedom, that's dependence. And as you mature, especially after 70, you recognize that you've wasted too much energy trying to fit into boxes that were never built for your soul. You begin to shift. You start wearing what feels good, not what's trendy. You start speaking your truth, not what's safe. You stop apologizing for being who you are. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop living for their acceptance. You begin to lead with purpose rather than permission. The older you get, the more you realize that confidence isn't loud, it's quiet. It shows up in the decisions you make without needing applause. What if you didn't have to wait until 70 to let go? What if you began today? What if you stopped worrying about being misunderstood, disliked, or judged, and instead focused on being honest, kind, and deeply true to yourself? Freedom lies in this choice. You can stop measuring your life by the number of likes or compliments, and start measuring it by the level of peace you feel when you're alone. You begin to live not to impress but to express. You stop collecting and start curating your thoughts, your values, your priorities. And as you do, you'll discover something powerful. The lighter you live, the better you breathe. The more you let go, the more room you have for joy, laughter, connection, and presence. These are the treasures that don't fade with time, they deepen. Letting go of what doesn't matter is not a giving up, it's a waking up. It's stepping out of the noise and into your own clarity. That is where freedom lives. That is where you begin to truly live. Holding on to pain is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. We often think that by remembering what someone did to us, by keeping the wound open, we're protecting ourselves from future hurt. But in truth, holding a grudge is like carrying a burning coal in your bare hands. The only one who gets burned is you. Emotional pain left unresolved doesn't sit quietly. It simmers beneath the surface, showing up as stress, bitterness, and even physical illness. It can cloud your perspective, damage your relationships, and rob you of peace. As we grow older, especially beyond 70, it becomes clear that time is too precious to waste on carrying past resentment. Every moment spent reliving old wounds is a moment stolen from the present. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. It doesn't mean that what happened was right. It doesn't mean forgetting, excusing, or letting others off the hook. Forgiveness is a personal decision to release the burden so it no longer controls you. It's reclaiming your energy from something that's already happened and cannot be changed. It's saying, "This hurt me, but I will not let it define the rest of my life." Forgiveness is strength, not weakness. It takes real courage to look at your pain, understand it, and choose to rise above it. It's not just about others. It's about your own healing. When you forgive, you're not saying they deserve peace. You're saying you do, and there's power in that choice. You get to walk lighter. You get to smile without the shadow of the past pulling you back. Letting go of grudges also creates emotional space for healthier connections. When you're no longer trapped in the cycle of blame or anger, you open up room in your heart for trust, empathy, and new relationships. You begin to recognize that everyone, including yourself, is a work in progress. Life isn't black and white. People make mistakes, and sometimes you have to forgive others the way you hope to be forgiven. Right beside the burden of resentment is another weight that often becomes clear with age: the desire to impress. So much of our lives is spent trying to be enough for the world. We try to look successful, sound intelligent, appear strong, and be admired. We measure ourselves by job titles, bank balances, and social status. We compete, compare, and constantly evaluate our worth through external lenses. But reaching the later stages of life brings a revelation. None of it matters the way you once thought it did. The desire to impress is driven by fear, the fear of being overlooked, unvalued, or not belonging. But the truth is, the people who matter most don't care about your resume, your wardrobe, or your follower count. They care about how you make them feel. They care about your honesty, your compassion, your ability to listen and love. When you let go of trying to impress, you give yourself permission to just be. You begin to live from the inside out, not the outside in. You become more interested in being real than being right. You no longer need to prove anything to anyone because you've discovered that your value doesn't come from achievement but from presence. And when that shift happens, something beautiful unfolds. You become more approachable, more relatable, and more grounded. People are drawn not to your image but to your authenticity. Letting go of the need to impress also reduces stress and increases clarity. You begin making choices that align with your values, not others' expectations. You focus on what fulfills you, not what looks good on paper. You live for meaning, not validation, and that's where true confidence is born, in knowing that you are enough, not because of what you've accomplished, but because of who you are. This kind of inner freedom doesn't come from striving. It comes from releasing, from forgiving the past, dropping the mask, and choosing peace over performance. It's the reward of a life lived in alignment. And it's available to anyone willing to let go. Regret is like a shadow that follows you until you turn to face the light. It creeps in late at night, in the quiet moments, whispering about things you could have done differently. The words you should have said, the risks you didn't take, the mistakes you made. These memories play like broken records in the minds of many. But as you grow older, especially beyond 70, there's a realization that regret serves no purpose if it doesn't teach or transform. It cannot rewrite the past, but it can ruin the present if you let it. Life is not a perfect path. No one escapes it without moments they wish they could change, but growth doesn't come from pretending those moments never happened. It comes from accepting them, learning from them, and moving forward. The pain of regret can either paralyze you or push you into wisdom. You get to choose. You can look at your past not as a series of failures, but as stepping stones that brought you to this version of yourself. Every wrong turn still taught you something. Every missed opportunity still added perspective. You are not the same person you were back then, and that's the point. The biggest mistake is not making one. The biggest mistake is getting stuck in it. Regret becomes dangerous when it traps you in guilt or shame. These emotions, if left unchecked, become barriers to joy. They whisper that you are unworthy of peace, of second chances, of happiness. But peace begins the moment you accept that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. That version of you had different fears, different knowledge, different tools. Give yourself grace. If you would extend it to others, why not to yourself? Letting go of regret doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. It means no longer giving it the power to hurt you today. It means choosing to focus on what you can still do, not what you can't undo. And there's so much still in front of you. The future is never promised, but the present always is. When you let go of regret, you reclaim the energy you once spent looking backward and redirect it toward what matters now: connection, growth, and presence. This leads into another truth that becomes clearer with age. Fear of the future loses its grip when you learn to live in the present. When you're younger, the future often feels like a looming test, something you have to prepare for, worry about, and control. But as you get older, especially after 70, you begin to realize that most of what you feared never happened. And if it did, you handled it. You're still here, still breathing, still capable. That alone is proof of your resilience. Fear feeds on imagination. It builds worst-case scenarios and steals today's peace for things that may never come. But presence, true presence, dismantles fear. When you focus on this moment, this breath, this conversation, fear shrinks. You begin to understand that joy isn't found in what might happen one day. It's found in what is happening now. The warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter, the feeling of being alive. These things are available now, not someday. Living in fear of the future blinds you to the gifts of the present. You worry about health, about loss, about change, but worrying doesn't prevent hardship. It only robs you of today's calm. When you shift your focus to what's within your control, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, you take back your power. You realize that you don't need certainty to feel peace. You just need presence. And presence isn't passive. It's a conscious choice. It's waking up and deciding to be grateful before you check the news. It's listening fully when someone speaks instead of thinking about what's next. It's putting your attention where your life actually is, right here, right now. Letting go of regret and fear doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to live with clarity. It means deciding that your past doesn't own you and your future doesn't scare you. What matters most is how you live today, because today is where your power lives. Today is where life happens. And when you show up for today with an open heart and a quiet mind, you begin to truly live. My friends, letting go isn't giving up, it's choosing what's worth holding on to. When you stop clutching what no longer matters, your hands are free to embrace what does: love, laughter, simplicity, and peace. So, whether you're 70, 50, or 30, don't wait, let go, live lighter, live better. Thank you.